If you look at your news feed right now, it is probably just an absolute avalanche of AI
Oh,
news.
completely. Every single day.
Right. Every day it's a new model, a new breakthrough, some new robot doing backflips, and it can feel incredibly overwhelming for you as a listener.
Yeah, it feels like it's all coming out of nowhere.
Exactly. But what if I told you there was a roadmap, like an actual roadmap predicting this exact moment for the last 2 decades?
That would be nice.
Yeah. And what if the guy who drew that roadmap was a college dropout who used to fix webcams?
I mean, that is the classic Silicon Valley story right there.
It really is. Today, on the deep dive, we are looking at Robert Scoble.
Right.
He went from being this sort of tech enthusiast to one of Silicon Valley's most prolific and, frankly, polarizing trend spotters.
Definitely polarizing.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to map out the future of human-technology symbiosis through his eyes.
And to do that, we are using an incredible source. We're looking at this massive, sprawling biographical profile published on April 19th, 2026.
Just recently.
Yeah, on Paramendra Kumar Bhagat's Futurist blog.
Which is a wild place on the internet, by the way.
Oh, it really is. Bhagat covers everything. You have these deep AI analyses, and then right next to it, geopolitical commentary on the Middle East.
Yeah, it's a lot. But the profile on Scoble is incredibly thorough. It really frames him as an unaligned, independent analyst predicting things like spatial computing and these massive AI agent swarms.
Right, but before we can actually trust his vision of, say, 2033, we really need to look at how he built his crystal ball in the first place.
I agree. You have to look at the origins. So he was born on January 18th, 1965.
Right in the heart of things.
Exactly. Raised in San Jose, literally a kilometer away from Apple's headquarters.
Which is just crazy geographical luck.
It is. But it wasn't just where he lived. His actual household was deeply embedded in the tech revolution.
Yeah, his parents were right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
His father, William Scoble, had a PhD from Rutgers in materials engineering. Yeah, and he worked for these absolute legacy tech companies. Ampex, which pioneered early video recording tape, and Lockheed Martin.
So his dad is bringing home some serious aerospace-grade tech.
Constantly. But the really fascinating part to me is his mother.
Right, because she was literally building the hardware.
Exactly. She worked on the original Apple II assembly lines,
Okay.
but she did it out of their house.
Wait, out of the house, like just in the living room?
Yeah, she was part of this home assembly group managed by a woman named Hildy Licht.
That is so wild. Just imagine growing up in that environment.
I know, right?
Like you're a kid, you're eating your cereal, and your mom is over there soldering motherboards for Steve Wozniak.
Well, and think about what that does to your brain.
What do you mean?
Like, technology isn't magic to you.
Oh, right. It's just pieces of metal and plastic.
Exactly. It completely demystifies it. You see that a computer is just a physical thing built by regular people in a living room.
So it makes sense that he becomes a gadget guy. But he didn't take the traditional path. He didn't go to Stanford and get a computer science degree.
No, not at all. He went to San Jose State University for journalism.
Journalism,
Yeah.
not engineering.
Right. And then, in 1993, he just dropped out.
Then he was like one class short, wasn't he?
Literally one class away from the degree. He also took some classes at West Valley Community College. But yeah, he just leaves.
And where does it go?
To a discount camera store called LZ Premiums.
From Apple II motherboards to selling cameras.
And then eventually he lands at a webcam maker called Winoff.
Okay, went off. This is the late 90s, right?
Yeah. And his job wasn't, high-level corporate strategy. He was basically doing customer support.
Which, if you remember the internet in the late 90s,
Oh, man.
trying to get a webcam to work over dial-up was pure torture.
Absolute torture. But he was maintaining this net meeting information site, helping users figure it out.
So he's talking to real frustrated people every single day.
Exactly. Microsoft even named him a most valuable professional, an MVP, for all this unpaid help he was giving people in their news groups.
Wow. Unpaid. Just
Yeah.
doing it because he was obsessed with the tech.
Right. And that really sets the stage for his big break.
The Microsoft era.
Yes. From 2003 to 2006.
So he gets hired by Microsoft as a technical evangelist.
Right. Now, you have to remember what Microsoft was like back then.
Oh, they were basically viewed as the evil empire by developers.
Completely. They were dealing with all these brutal antitrust lawsuits. Their PR was incredibly stiff.
Very corporate. Very defensive.
And Scoble comes in, and he had already been running this personal blog called Scobleizer since around 2000.
Okay.
So he takes that blogging ethos, and he helps create this internal video platform for Microsoft called Channel 9.
And this is where he pioneers what the blog profile calls naked corporate transparency.
Yeah, he literally just grabbed a raw camcorder, walked into the offices of Microsoft engineers, and just started recording.
Unscripted.
Totally unscripted, just talking about code, talking about bugs.
And people loved it. The source mentions a quote from The Economist in 2005 saying Scoble made Microsoft marginally but noticeably less evil.
Which is high praise from The Economist.
It is, but, I have to push back a little here.
Okay.
Does some guy with a camcorder actually change a massive Fortune 500 company's internal culture? Or is it just a really good PR shield?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Like, a modern equivalent would be a rogue TikToker taking over the social media for, like, a massive bank. It looks cool, but does the bank actually change?
Well, I think the culture at large changed because he proved you didn't need the PR department.
Right.
He was openly criticizing Microsoft's own products on his blog
While working for them.
while cashing their checks. If a product had bugs, he said it had bugs.
Wow.
And he built this massive audience. So when he finally left Microsoft on June 10th, 2006,
Wait, why did he leave?
he went to a podcasting startup called podtech.net, said he got better pay and stock options.
Makes sense.
But the crazy thing is, when he announced he was leaving, his blog traffic completely spiked.
Really? So the audience didn't care about Microsoft, they cared about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to how he actually learned to spot trends. Because it wasn't in a boardroom.
No, it was through community dialogue,
Right.
which naturally evolved into forecasting these huge societal shifts.
I see.
So let's talk about the books, because he co-authored several really pivotal texts, mostly with the late Shel Israel.
Yeah, Shell passed away in 2025, and Scoble has said they were an incredible team,
So in 2006, they put out Naked Conversations,
which basically predicted social media's impact on business.
long before every brand had a Twitter account,
Exactly. And then, 2013, they wrote Age of Context.
which I think is the most important one for understanding his current predictions.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in 2013, they predicted wearables and sensors. But what did they actually mean by context?
Well, it's about convergence. It's not just having a phone. It's your phone's sensors, your social graph, your location, all talking to each other so the tech knows what you need before you ask.
Right. Like the tech is anticipating you.
Yes, and they followed that up in 2016 with the fourth transformation, which was all about AR, VR, and early AI.
And then the Infinite Retina in 2020 with Irina Cronin focused on spatial computing.
Yeah, he's got like 8 books out there. But to me, the really wild stuff is his track record of firsts.
Oh, the firsts are legendary. Siri was literally launched and demoed in his house.
Just casually in his living room.
Yeah. He did the first live video inside the original Tesla riding shotgun with Elon Musk.
He posted the first YouTube video of a Google self-driving car.
He was early on Flipboard, Pandora, Instagram.
Right.
But how does one guy do that? How does he get access to all of this?
Because of his network. He operates as this massive superconnector. He processes just crazy amounts of data by doing thousands of interviews with founders. Yeah. He doesn't invent the tech. He spots the dots between different labs.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, say he visits a lab working on AI world models.
Right.
And then he goes to another lab working on SLAM.
Hold on. SLAM. Simultaneous localization and mapping.
You know it.
Yeah, but break that down for the listener.
Sure. So SLAM is basically how a robot or a drone figures out where it is in a room.
Like mapping the walls.
Exactly. It uses sensors to build a 3D map of the space while also tracking its own exact location inside that map.
Okay.
So Scoble sees the SLAM tech over here and the AI models over there, and he's the guy who says, oh, these two are going to merge in 5 years.
He's the connective tissue.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The sheer volume of his output.
Oh, yeah.
It's so high that critics used to joke about this unit of measurement called the milliscobel.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically a metric for how annoying his rapid-fire tweeting was.
He was just constantly posting. But that's the point, right? He's processing out loud, and people respect it. Jensen Huang from NVIDIA has talked to him. Dennis Yu calls him incredibly supportive.
Right. He is entirely open. But living out loud like that is a double-edged sword.
It definitely is.
Because the same radical transparency that helped him forecast the future also exposed his deepest personal flaws.
Yeah. It challenged his entire professional standing.
So on the personal front, he's always been very open. He converted to Islam to marry his wife, Maryam Gamagami.
Right.
He talks openly about their 3 sons, including sharing a lot about raising a son with autism.
Which is very vulnerable.
Very. But in 2017, that public life hit a wall.
Yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, 2017 was a major turning point in the tech industry regarding accountability.
So what actually happened with Scoble?
BuzzFeed published a report detailing allegations of sexual harassment and assault from several former colleagues.
This included Michelle Greer from his time at Rackspace and a journalist named Quinn Norton.
Right. Some of the allegations went all the way back to a tech event called FooCamp in 2010.
And the professional fallout was pretty much immediate, right?
They're very swift. He resigned from the Transformation Group, which was a consulting firm he had just started with Shell Israel.
Wow.
And he was removed from the board of the VR Association.
And how did he respond to all of this?
Well, his response shifted over time. Initially, he posted an apology. He cited his struggles with alcohol and said he had been working on sobriety since roughly 2015.
But then he changed his stance.
Yeah, he later deleted the apology. He explicitly denied the misconduct allegations, and he tried to launch a new venture called Like Pitch.
And the profile notes that some of the women involved also disputed his timeline regarding his sobriety.
Right. It was a very complex, very public fallout.
And as a listener, it really makes you ask a difficult question. When a futurist's personal conduct causes this massive fracture in their career, how does it change the way we digest their predictions about humanity?
It's a profound question. Can you separate the vision from the visionary?
Yeah. Do we trust the architect if the foundation is cracked?
Well, the source text shows that this forced him to adapt. He lost those corporate ties, so he had to operate completely independently.
Right. Stripped of the corporate safety net.
Exactly. And surviving that fallout, he just doubled down on his core thesis.
Which is that technology is meant to augment humans.
Yes. And that leads us directly into his extremely aggressive 2026 predictions.
Okay, so let's jump to today, April 2026. What is he doing right now?
Right now, he's co-authoring the Unaligned newsletter.
Unaligned. Makes sense given his independent status.
Exactly. He builds these massive directories over 800 AI tools. He runs sites like alignednews.com.
He's still doing the sheer volume thing.
Absolutely. And his main argument for right now, between now and 2027, is that chatbots are dead.
Dead, like ChatGPT is over.
Basically. He says we're entering the era of agentic platforms.
Agentic platforms, so agents doing things for us.
Yes. He calls it ninja AI. And agent swarms.
Swarms? That sounds a little intimidating.
Well, he claims that using platforms like Pokey AI or NOS Research's Hermes or something he calls Digital Optimus, you can literally build an entire app in 10 minutes.
Wait, me? I don't know how to code.
You don't have to. That's the point of an agent swarm.
Okay, explain how this works. Because he recently talked about this Stanford presentation that totally freaked him out. In a good way, I think.
Yeah, in a terrified but amazed way. It was about unified models.
Unified models. Okay, I really need you to unpack this for the listener. Because we are used to LLMs, large language models.
Right. So an LLM is basically a really advanced autocomplete. It guesses the next word.
And it's fragmented.
Exactly. You want text, you go to one tool. You want a picture, you go to another. A unified model replaces all that fragmentation
How?
by integrating reasoning, self-correction, and physical action across domains.
Okay, slow down. Reasoning and self-correction.
So instead of just guessing the next word, it actually thinks about the problem.
Yeah.
If you tell it to build an app and it hits an error, an LLM would just stop and wait for you to fix it.
Right, it would just give me an error code.
But a unified model orchestrates like 4,500 different tools through a single operating system. It sees the error, reasons out why it happened, corrects its own code, and keeps going.
It's like having a master contractor. Like instead of me having a toolbox full of standalone tools, a hammer, a saw, and I have to do the work.
Yeah.
It's like I just hired a contractor who builds the whole house for me while I sleep.
That is the perfect analogy. Scoble literally runs a team of agents overnight while he listens to music.
See, I have to push back on this because he frames this as, oh, it's so liberating.
Right.
But is it actually liberating human creativity? Or are we just creating this hyper-accelerated digital rat race?
What do you mean?
If I have a swarm of agents working while I sleep, and you have a swarm working while you sleep, aren't we just raising the baseline of what's expected? When does it end?
Well, that's the anxiety of it. But Scoble says this is just the beginning. Because his vision doesn't stop at the computer screen.
No, it bleeds into the real world.
Right. And this goes back to the logic of his 2013 book, Age of Context.
Because once AI can reason, it has to enter the physical world.
Exactly. Which brings us to physical AI, when the internet grows hands and eyes.
Okay, this is the stuff that sounds like pure science fiction. Let's talk about his robotics timeline for 2025 to 2033.
So he looks at things like the Tesla Optimus bot. He says these humanoid robots are moving from factories into our homes.
And gives very specific dates. He says by 2028, a home robot will be delivering your pizza.
Yes, 2028, that's right around the corner.
But then he goes further. By 2033, he predicts these robots will be doing our laundry, running small businesses, and providing home security.
Right, and the hardware prediction he makes to back this up is crazy. He says the sensors on these machines will jump from 1K resolution to 32K resolution by 2033.
32K. That is an unbelievable amount of data for a robot to process in real time.
It is. What's fascinating here is how he thinks we get there. He connects it back to autonomous vehicles.
Like robo-taxis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robotaxis had to map the whole world using SLAM, and by doing that, they drove down the cost of sensors and motors.
Oh, so the self-driving cars basically subsidized the parts for the home robots.
Exactly. They paid for the R&D. So now, the humanoid robot can just take that tech and use it to navigate your kitchen.
That is brilliant dot connecting.
Yeah. And because they have these advanced sensors, they don't need to be programmed line by line. Scoble says they will learn via one demonstration.
Okay, what does one demonstration mean?
It means you show the robot how to fold a shirt exactly one time.
Just once.
Just once. Its sensors watch you, it builds a 3D model of the action, and it just knows how to do it forever.
That is wild. But then he takes it to this deeply intimate level. He says humans will view these robots as friends and associates.
Yeah, they will be our companions.
He even predicts you would trust a machine to perform CPR on you. Just imagine that for a second. You have a medical emergency, and a robot drops to the floor and starts doing chest compressions. The psychological shift required to trust a machine with your life like that, it's massive.
It is. But Scoble thinks spatial convergence will make it feel natural.
Spatial convergence between 2026 and 2030.
Right. So he predicted that in October 2026, we get the arrival of lightweight spatial glasses.
Not the bulky headsets.
No, glasses you can wear all day. And they will project holodecks over your physical space.
So the physical robot is making you dinner, and the glasses are projecting a virtual interface over the kitchen counter.
Exactly. And the way you control it all, brain-computer interfaces, BCIs.
Right. You just think the command.
They don't have to talk. You don't have to swipe. The BCI reads your intent, and the AI agent executes it. And because the robotaxi outside, and your glasses, and your home robot are all sharing the same SLAM mapping.
It's all one flawless, continuous system.
It's total convergence.
But listen, with robots making pizzas and agents writing code and glasses reading our minds, the ultimate question Scoble poses isn't even about the tech itself.
No. It's about what is left for us.
The societal crossroads. Obsolescence.
Yeah, this is the heavy stuff.
He cites an Anthropic poll suggesting that around 50% of jobs could be done by AI in just about 2 years.
50%. That's half the economy.
And Scoble wrote an article titled, "What Does It Mean to Be Human in an Age of AI?"
Which is the question, isn't it?
It is. He even admitted on LinkedIn, he said, quote, "I'm already obsolete. My digital twin can interview a founder better than I can."
Think about the weight of that. This is a guy who built his entire life on interviewing founders and spotting trends. And he is openly admitting that his AI clone is better at his own life's work than he is.
So what does this all mean? If someone like Robert Scoble is obsolete, what hope do the rest of us have?
Well, he says it forces a choice. You have to become a builder.
A builder.
Yeah, the necessity to become a builder. You have to learn prompting, you have to learn discernment, you have to master these new interfaces.
Because if you just stay a consumer, you're going to be left behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He sees AI as a societal choice between liberation on one hand and extreme centralization on the other.
It's a huge contradiction in him, really.
How so?
Because he is this immense optimist. He really believes tech makes humans better.
True.
But he's also acknowledging these profound risks.
Yeah.
He talks about reading deep mind cybersecurity papers that literally keep him awake at night.
Right. He knows the dangers of these agents going rogue.
He knows how fast obsolescence is coming, but his answer isn't to hide. His answer is to dive in deeper, to build.
And that's really the core of who he is.
Yeah. So to recap this incredible journey, we started with a kid playing with aerospace parts in his living room in San Jose.
Watched his mom build Apple IIs.
Dropped out of college, fixed webcams, and then used radical transparency to humanize Microsoft.
And then he used this massive network of thousands of interviews to map out the future. Social media, sensors, AR, VR.
And despite a highly controversial personal and professional fallout, he survived by staying curious.
He tested the bleeding edge.
Exactly. And now he's predicting this absolute convergence of spatial computing, robotics, and agentic AI.
A lot to take in.
It is. But it's relevant to you, the listener, right now.
Very relevant.
Because Scoble's survival comes from his willingness to test these tools. You can do that today. You don't have to just read the headlines and panic.
Right. You can go try an AI agent. You can see how it works for yourself.
You can choose to be a builder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, I want to leave you with one final kind of lingering thought based on all this.
Let's hear it.
Scoble's vision of 2033 really holds true.
Okay.
And you are living in a home that is perfectly maintained by a trusted humanoid robot.
Right.
And meanwhile, your digital twin is out there in the cloud working your old job better than you ever did. Where exactly does your identity reside? Are you the architect of your digital life, or are you merely its audience?
Wow. Are you the architect or just the audience? That is something to chew on.
Definitely.
Well, we'll leave it there. Keep building, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.